In this video, you will learn how to create your student aggregates form. Data reps are responsible for creating one student aggregates form per program year and updating the same form at minimum each quarter or as changes occur for the remainder of the year. You should not create a new form each quarter. To create your site student aggregates form, start by going to your site page. The fastest way to go to your site page is through the quick search bar on the top left corner. Begin entering your site name. You will see suggestions will begin to appear. Select the option that matches your site name and says Site in blue to the right. The page may take a few seconds to load. Once your site page loads, scroll down to the Student Aggregate section. Then click the blue Start button. The page may take a few seconds to load. The Date of Assessment field will auto-populate the first time you create the form. In the first section of the form, you will report the children ages 0 to 5 who have enrolled at the site since the start of the program year, which is July 1st, and are still actively enrolled. Begin by entering the total number of active students who enrolled since July 1st. In this section, you will enter counts of active children by age group. Each subsection has a checkbox which will indicate whether errors can be found in that subsection or not. Confirm that each checkbox says Ready to Save before moving on to the next subsection. Enter the counts of active children by language. If a child is multilingual, include them in the count for the language most often spoken at their home. If a child does not speak, include them in the count for the language most often spoken at their home. If a child speaks a language that is not listed in this subsection, include them under the option for Other. Enter the count of active children who speak more than one language in the Dual Language Learners field. Enter the number of active students by each race listed in the race section. Report each child once under a single race category. If they are multiracial, include them in the more than one race count. Please note that there are 3 subcategories for white race: white Hispanic, white non-Hispanic, and white Middle Eastern. Please report children under the appropriate race subcategory. Enter the number of active students by ethnicity in the ethnicity section. Enter the number of active students who receive each of the listed subsidies in the subsidy section. If a child has more than one type of subsidy or payment, include them in the count for each subsidy or payment type. Enter the number of active students who had an IEP or IFSP at the time of their enrollment for the current program year in the IEP or IFSPs at enrollment field. Then, enter the number of active students who had an IEP or IFSP created after the time of their enrollment for the current program year in the IEP or IFSPs after enrollment field. Now, enter the number of active students with ASQ assessments completed during the current program year in the ASQ3's completed field. Then, enter the number of active students with ASQ3 assessments completed with a score in the black in the ASQ3's with concern, scores in the black field. Now, enter the number of active students with ASQ SE2 assessments completed during the current program year in the ASQ SE2's completed field. Now, enter the number of active students with ASQ SE2 assessments completed with a score in the black in the ASQ SE2's with concern, scores in the black field. Then, enter the number of active students with referrals made based on ASQ scores in the black in the referrals internal and external based on ASQ3 ASQ SE2 scores in the black. Once you reach the question, did any students drop, you have reached the end of the active students section. If no students have dropped this program year, select No and click Save and Exit. If one or more students have dropped since the beginning of the program year, select Yes. If you select Yes, you can then see the dropped students section. Enter the total number of dropped students at the site in the total number of dropped students field. Then, enter the number of dropped students by age group. Please report students in the age group they belong to at the time they dropped out. Enter the number of dropped students who speak each language listed under the Languages section. Then enter the number of dropped students who are dual language learners in the Dual Language Learners field. Enter the number of dropped students by each race listed in the Race section. Then enter the number of dropped students by each ethnicity listed in the Ethnicity section. Continue by entering the number of dropped students who receive each of the listed subsidies in the Subsidy section. If a child has more than one type of subsidy or payment, include them in the count for each subsidy type or payment type. Enter the number of dropped students who had an IEP or IFSP at the time of enrollment for the current program year in the IEP or IFSP's at enrollment field. Then, enter the number of dropped students with an IEP or IFSP started after their enrollment in the IEP or IFSP's after enrollment field. Enter the number of dropped students with ASQ assessments completed during the current program year in the ASQ3's completed field. Then, enter the number of dropped students with ASQ3 assessments completed with a score in the black in the ASQ3's with concern, scores in the black field. Enter the number of dropped students with ASQ SE2 assessments completed during the current program year in the ASQ SE2's completed field. Then, enter the number of dropped students with ASQ SE2 assessments completed with a score in the black in the ASQ SE2's with concern, scores in the black field. Then, enter the number of dropped students with referrals made based on ASQ scores in the black in the referrals internal and external based on ASQ3, ASQ SE2 scores in the black. When you have finished entering the site's data, click the Save and Exit button. If the Save button is not blue and you cannot click it, it means you have an error in the form. This includes missing a required field. Please review the checkboxes under each subsection to identify errors and correct them. Once you've clicked the Save and Exit button, you will return to your site page. The page may take a few seconds to load. To verify that your form was created, scroll down to the Student Aggregate section. You should now see a result under this section. You will continue to update this existing form for the remainder of the program year.